Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. So yesterday we had a really interesting conversation with Jason Harlow about the solar eclipse that's occurring on Monday, April the 8th, right around 3:18 p.m. In really the Niagara region. We're going to see a little bit of it, very limited here, but it won't be a full eclipse. I think south of Hamilton, it'll be a full eclipse, but just for a minute or so. But then down near Fort Erie, Niagara Falls, Buffalo, etc., it's going to be a full 3-minute full eclipse. And Jason was really interested in talking about the eclipse. And Maria, you may be interested. He's an astrophysicist. Knows a lot about all of this, what's going on from a planetary standpoint. And he is really excited. And he hasn't been to a solar eclipse in 30-something years. And a while ago, he actually traveled to Costa Rica so that he could see a full solar eclipse because he was so excited about it then, and he's so excited about it again today. But I thought we'd check in with Maria Fudas, who is she's a transformational life coach, but she's also very in tune with spiritual issues, astrology, and other issues that she'll tell us a little bit about. And I asked her about how some people think a solar eclipse has some spiritual aspects to it, and certainly in the past has had some very spiritual aspects to it. You know, what is it about eclipses that make people think about this sort of spiritual part of it? So Maria Fudas, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me, Brian. I'm excited. This is exciting times.
So tell me, why is it exciting, and what do you think is the spiritual aspect of a solar eclipse?
Okay, so I know in the olden days, people used to be afraid of solar eclipses, right? Because, it used to go from day to night. And even my oldest sister, was talking with her, and she recalls seeing a solar eclipse, I'm not sure if she was in Greece. And she said she remembers being totally frightened. And in the olden days, they used to be frightened of solar eclipse because they thought maybe the world was ending, or it was mystical, or the omens were coming out. But actually now we kind of believe that solar eclipses actually bring forth enlightenment, spiritual awakening. It's a fantastic time for transformation, rebirth. That's the main thing. It's almost like a cosmic reset, you would call it.
Cosmic
eclipses
reset.
Do that. Yeah, it's like a cosmic reset, resetting the planet, but also us as individuals, and also it's also believed to bring forth. To bring to the forefront whatever's in the shadows. So if something is hidden, something that you're not sure about, it's known to bring things to the shadows, so we can make better decisions. So we can have all the information, make better decisions in order for our lives to be able to transform and to, if we choose to, obviously, right? And also it's the eclipses are the fantastic times. It's almost like portals open up where you could have for new lives or for new realities if you choose to move through it and to take those opportunities. Those are the best, the optimum times for quantum leaping.
It's interesting because Jason talked about how animals reacted, and animals obviously don't know about solar eclipses and react almost as if it's potentially the end of the world, and get very scared, as you said. And some animals that don't come out until the night came out and then got fried when the sun came back out. And so there was, a significant death of small insects and other animals. And that dogs and horses and other animals got very skittish and scared and would run around the earth is falling, the sky is falling, or something's coming to an end. And certainly in history, times of solar eclipses have been thought of as pretty profound events. I guess because, we don't know about them because we don't have written history or even oral history. You said that this is a ride of celestial wave of transformation. What do you mean by that? A celestial wave of transformation?
Yeah, because it's actually a magical time right now. It's very magical and mystical. And aside just from the solar eclipse, which we won't see here till another 375 years, there's a lot of other stuff that happened. We just finished a full moon eclipse March 25th, I believe it was. And there's a whole bunch of different, which I'm sure the astrologists explain this better because I love it. So I'm passionate about it, but I'm not like, I don't have that much information. But a bunch of other planets are also aligning. So it's just so that we have full moon eclipse, and the solar eclipse happens on the new moon also. So it's a new moon eclipse. And new moon is also always known about, rebirthing and manifesting our ideas. So you look at this, it's almost like the heavens, the universe is going to put on a show with all this amazing stuff happening. There's even a comet, I believe, that's happening around, in between these times as well. And I know Venus is aligning, and Venus is the planet of love and beauty. So we had the full moon, I believe, which was in Libra, which stands for relationships, balance. So if you look at the scope of the eclipses and where they kind of came through with the alignment, and now we're in the sign of Aries, I believe. And so the full moon, the full solar eclipse is going to be in the Aries. So if you look at those three main planets that are kind of aligning, there's going to be other ones aligning as well, but those ones that I found are significant. So what we should be looking about on this is, okay, so we know balance, the Libra is scales. So pay a little bit more attention into your relationships, whether they're romantic, with our children, spouses, family members, friends, coworkers. And we know that the solar eclipse will bring things that are in the shadows to the forefronts. So it's really all about trying to balance our relationships. And what the eclipses force us to do is it will force us to kind of like pay attention to what's happening, whether it's the relationships or our life in general. And it nudges you to kind of try to align with your spiritual path, where you should be living, how you should be, and the journey you should be taking with what you should be doing. So if you're fallen, if you haven't had the courage or the insight to be with the people you need to be, or certain things in your life and what you're doing, and if you're venturing away from your path, the solar eclipses are kind of they have this power. They're where they're kind of gonna. So they're meant to be dramatic too. So if you're not taking the nudges and you're not looking at all the signs that are there, they could be very dramatic, and they could impact you in not a negative way. They're there to be positive, but they could impact you in a way if you're resisting the change, if you're resisting what
If
they're
you're
trying to
resisting
tell
change and you don't have the courage, this is the time to get the power or
So now is the time.
Let's take a step back.
Yes.
So, astrology and stuff like this, I don't know anything about, but you tell everyone a little bit about your knowledge and experience. You're a card reader, you believe in astrology. Tell us a little bit about what your involvement is, what your knowledge is, and why we should be interested in listening to what you've got to say.
Okay, so in general, of course, I'm a certified assertiveness coach, and that's my passion to try to help people. But why? One of the reasons I became a coach, obviously, is to help people. So I do have tools that are to navigate people in order to gain self-mastery, to become who they're meant to be, to fulfill their purpose, really. And that's why I really got into this. I'm definitely passionate about what people call the law of attraction, manifesting. I've found with my life, when I went back and I analyzed my life, I realized that I was manifesting my life without even knowing. I was kind of like an autopilot manifesting my life when I look back, and I could give you some examples later. So then I became passionate about that, and that's what really, I had some things happening in my life, separations, divorces, jobs, all the what you would call quantum leaps in my life, involuntarily sometimes that I did. So when I went back and I analyzed things, I realized that deep down inside, it's things that I wanted, things that I subconsciously wanted to happen. It just that consciously, perhaps I hadn't put it together. So when I look back and I analyzed all this, I realized that we're manifesting our lives. We're kind of more in control of, especially the little things that are happening, and especially drama and how we and karma. So how we respond and how we react and how we process it, and our feelings, and how we feel most of the time, and whether we're happy, we're not happy. It's really in our power to be able to transform that. And little things in our lives we're manifesting. So when I recognized that that's what was happening to me, and that's why certain things were happening, because I was questioning, am I psychic or am I, what's going on? So I went back and if you look even in the Bible, it says there are certain things that they say that you could, what you believe you'll have. And in all the religions, actually, if you look closely, they do, if you take away the Dharma, all the religious stuff of fear, they actually all kind of point to the fact that we're manifestors. If we believe in something, we will have it. So that's the basis of how I came to this. And I did a lot of research, I've read all the religions, different kind of books of spiritual leaders. And I came to realize that we're manifesting. So I put it to use, looking back of what I had. And then every day, obviously, I'm a student as well. So I'm learning. I'm a work in progress. But I've realized that it's not as difficult as people think. It's just recognizing it, owning it, believing in it. And we actually manifest certain things as long as the key thing is also to surrender, to recognize that you're not always in charge, that we're one with the universe, with the cosmos. Look, portals are opening, quantum leaps are possible. So we're one with the universe.
So this manifestation, what's the connection between it and astrology and the fact that, moons have got some powers and solar eclipses have got some powers? I don't understand. Tell me.
Well, everything is in the universe, correct? So all this is in the universe. So we're all connected. So if we're connected with the universe, we're connected with the stars, we're connected with the planets, we're connected with the sun, definitely, because that's our father, sun, mother, the mother moon. And even if, Brian, just simple, even if people don't believe all this stuff and they think it's new age crap, just look at the power the moon has. Its gravitational pull has the power to move the tides, right? Up and down during the full moon and the new moon. So, I mean, that's a fact. So if you look at that power, and that's visible, that you could actually see, there's others. Why is it so hard to believe that the sun has power, that, the alignment of different planets or stars or have power? Of course they do. And if we take the moon alone, which is what this is, the full solar eclipse is it's always intertwined with the moon. The moon is where it's very powerful. Because if the tides go up and down, we're 90% of water. So you can imagine during the full moons and the new moons, it's all about emotions. And you'll notice, there's a lot of people say if it's a full moon, people go crazy, like you said, the animals, correct. And why does that happen? Is because we're 90% water. So the moon affects us also energetically. And just like the water goes up, it's like, yeah, sure. Our emotions go up, just like the tides are, because we're water, our emotions go up. So that's why if you haven't,
that the fact that the moon controls the moon controls high tide and low tide in all of our oceans. You think the moon can actually have a gravitational pull on the water within us and impact our emotions?
I don't think, I actually believe it does. If you look at people, you said the animals, and this is the astrologist, he's an expert in this. He said the animals go crazy when they see, and they feel the shifts, the moon, the full moon or the low moon. And why does that happen? The fish do the same, right? Certain fish don't come out in, different tides. It's because they feel the gravitational pull. So why don't we? We're 90% water, right? 80%, 60%. I'm not sure what that is, but we're more water than, flesh. So our bodies are so if definitely we're impacted by it. But I believe the way we're impacted is the emotion. That's the water is emotion.
Okay. So we're gonna have to take a break for some messages. But when I come back, let's assume whether we agree and believe you or not. Let's understand what, if we did believe what you're saying, what the impact of a solar eclipse might be on us. This rebirth, this transformation, this quantum shift that you're talking about, because it's frankly kind of exciting. And whether you believe it or not, it's kind of exciting to think about the possibility of a quantum shift in our lives. Stay with us, everyone. We're going to be back in 2 minutes with Maria Fudas talking about the solar eclipse, the total solar eclipse that's happening in Southern Ontario for the first time in several decades in North America, and for a long time. That, last time I can remember is when, who was it? Carly Simon wrote the book about that's a song about You're So Vain. You went up to Nova Scotia to see the total eclipse of the sun. So it's something that doesn't happen very often at all. Stay with us, everyone. Back in 2 minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. I'm kind of really intrigued by this solar eclipse that's happening on Monday. I'm not sure whether you are or not, but I had yesterday an astrophysicist, Jason Harlow, on, and this guy he grew up fascinated with the skies and space and planetary objects and solar eclipses, and traveled a couple decades ago to Costa Rica to see a solar eclipse, and is traveling down to Fort Erie so that he can experience the solar eclipse. And one thing he warned me about is make sure I get some regular glasses that not regular, but the special glasses so that I don't burn my eyes out when looking at the solar eclipse, and then the sun that comes out bright just a couple of seconds thereafter. But today I thought we would shift from the actual planetary movements to what a lot of people think is the spiritual aspect. And Maria Fudas, who's a transformational life coach, an astrologist, she is actually a reader of cards and other things. And I don't know if I believe everything that Maria talks about, but you know what? She's been pretty right on a couple of times that we've chatted before. And so I wanted to hear what she had to say about what she thought about a solar eclipse. And Maria, what you said was that you think that it is a time of celestial wave of transformation, and that is a lot astrologically happening around us right now, and that you think that spirituality and spiritually, there's a lot of things that happen because of the moon and because of things like eclipses. So let's talk about that. Let's start with the moon, if we could. So what you had talked about is that that full moons mean something and new moons mean something. What do full moons and new moons mean, if you could?
So full moons in generally are all about releasing. So this is the time, and especially the eclipse, solar eclipse, which falls into a new moon, is happening on I believe it's the Monday. So you still have time to release, to let go, because remember, when the solar eclipse comes and the new moon comes, you have to be ready. You have to be ready to be able to move into the portal. In that so-called portal, if you choose to have a new life. But you have to be.
What's a portal?
So portal is almost it's obviously it's imaginary. I don't know if it's a real portal like Einstein says, but it's a place where you could for the solar eclipse and eclipses, they're the optimum times to be able to quantum leap. And what that means is to shift from one life to the other. So if you take examples like, people maybe, they get a new job and their life changes, or they need a new partner and their life changes, or they win the lottery, or some significant change that happens in their life that shifts them from one reality. It's almost like, you were here, and then all of a sudden you go to this reality, to this life. So that's what quantum leaping does. And on eclipses, if we had the full moon, now we're going to get it in the solar eclipse, total solar eclipse, where those are the times where if you do the work, and you have to do the work, and you could choose to move through the portal with consciously in order to manifest the desire of the new life of how you want to live your life. So that's what I mean by a portal. It's almost like, it's obviously, I'm not saying there's a real portal that opens, but it's like an imaginary portal that opens. If you could look at the sun and the moon aligning together, they almost do look like a portal. When you look at them putting together, it's kind of magical and mystical, right?
Jason said something was really interesting, and I've heard this before, but the sun is 400 times bigger than the moon, and the sun is exactly 400 times farther away from us than the moon. And so it's a perfect symmetry that the moon covers exactly the whole sun.
Right. And if you don't see some magic in that,
it's the 400 times farther away and the 400 times larger means that the moon exactly covers the sun. Exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't even know that fact, but if you, isn't that magical? Just to think of that. What are the chances of that happening? So if you're that naive not to believe that there's something magical or something mystical happening at the same time, then that's okay. You're just, you might feel the drama a little bit more. You might resist a little bit more. and the change, the shifts that the eclipse is trying to give to you. So you might find the eclipses, and you're not going to do it consciously because you don't believe in it, but you might feel it in your life with your relationships, with your partners, with your children. There might be a little bit more of resistance and a little bit more drama created. But if you do it consciously, Brian, if you do it consciously, imagine, if you say, okay, this is a magical time, I'm going to do it. And what do you have to lose at the end of the day, right? What do you have to lose? So if you take the full moon, which is about releasing, we just finished the full moon. Just try this. What do you have to lose at the end of the day? You could say, okay, Maria's kind of nuts, but what do I have to lose? All you're going to do is you're going to achieve inner peace and kind of calm by doing what I'm suggesting. So the full moon, we said, is all about releasing. It's all about letting go. So this is the optimal time to do it before the solar eclipse and the new moon, because it's about letting go. So the best way to do that is forgiveness. And that's the primary thing, actually, because that's what we hold on to. Forgiveness. And it's forgiving ourselves, not having guilt about something perhaps we think we did, we didn't do. Forgiving ourselves primarily. People hold on to so many things. They have so much guilt. And funny enough, I know I have written a book. I do talk a lot about forgiveness and all these things you could do in order to, in my book. So you feel free to, we'll talk about that later. They can look at my site and pick it up. There's a lot of tools in there, but forgiveness is key, right? So forgive yourself, forgive the world, forgive your partners, forgive the others. So it's letting go of anger, letting go of bitterness, and letting go of grudges. That's a big one.
Letting go of anger, letting go of bitterness, letting go of grudges.
Guilt, obviously, but
sounds like good stuff to do anytime, but maybe this is a good excuse to do it even more so.
Exactly.
And then you talked then you talked about enlightenment, spiritual awakening, and transformation. Exactly.
So that's what the solar eclipse is believed to bring. And because it falls in a new moon, so new moons are all about manifesting and planting the seeds of what we want so they could come to fruition. If you look back in the olden times, they used to plant actually crops and everything in the new moon. So they had this concept, but we just lost it as the more evolved we got, actually. So it's all about planting the seeds. And happening in a solar eclipse is like magical, mystical. So planting the seeds in a total solar eclipse in a new moon is amazing. Now you have to do the work. The more work you do, like anything, the harder you work, the better your manifestations are going to be. It's not like saying, okay, I want this and it's going to happen. It's not like that. You have to do the work before. You have to release. You have to let go, and then you have to. That's how you get ready into the manifestations. So yes, the solar eclipse, the total solar eclipse, is about enlightenment, spiritual awakening, and transformation. If you choose to move through that portal. Obviously, everything's a choice. But if you choose to, and you do it consciously, I believe you'll experience some kind of magic and some kind of transformation and rebirth, because this is the optimal time to do it if you choose to.
You said as well that it brings clarity and truth so that you can make more informed decisions. How does a solar eclipse bring more clarity and truth so you can make more informed decisions?
And the reason for that is because also solar eclipses are believed to bring things that are in the shadows up to the forefront. So to help us make informed decisions. So anything that's hidden, anything, let's say somebody else is hiding it, or there's something that's hidden, it will come to the surface. But it's also for ourselves, right? Like things, if we're trying to pretend that we like something, or we're okay with something, it's going to affect us more. It's all about bringing the truth to the forefront. So that's why it's important also to be authentic, to say, to say what you mean, to take other people's feelings into consideration. That's all part of, preparing and in order to manifest. Because if you're not authentic and you're not taking your rights, the other person's rights into consideration, and the other person's feelings into consideration, then you're not going to really manifest successfully, because it's about not being selfish. All that stuff is going to come to the surface. And that's what solar eclipses are meant to believe to also, bring everything from the shadows to the forefront.
So this is kind of exciting. And the eclipse is happening on Monday afternoon. We've got a couple of days to get ready for it. And you've got some suggestions on things that we should be considering to do and things not to do. In addition to just making sure that you get Eclipse classes that Jason warned me about. We're going to take a break and come back, and I'm going to ask Maria about some of the things that one should do or not do in preparation for the most transformation you can get, spiritual awakening that you can get from a solar eclipse. Before we go, Maria, you mentioned your book. What's the book called, and where can people get it?
It's called Connect with Yourself and Others, and it's right behind me. And it's available anywhere online, Amazon, Chapters. It's also available on Apple Books. So if you want to get an ebook or Kindle, I think also Google. It's pretty much available anywhere online and as a hard copy. Or you could contact me on any kind of social media, Maria Fudas, and I'll send you an autographed copy.
I've had the privilege of reading the book. You were kind enough to give me a copy at one point in time in the past. And it's a great book. And it's interesting because one of Mira's big arguments is, which probably makes sense, is that before you can connect really authentically with someone else, you got to connect with yourself. And so she's got a whole bunch of interesting exercises so that you can connect better, number one, with yourself, and then number two, thereafter with others. So it's a great book, and I recommend it to you wholeheartedly. We're going to take a break for some messages and come back in 2 minutes with Maria Fudas. We're going to talk about some of the things, whether you agree or believe what Maria is saying or not, frankly, but if you want to sort of take best advantage of this quantum shift, portal, spiritual awakening, rebirth, transformation opportunity, what are some of the things that we can do to prepare for it? And some of the things that Maria thinks we shouldn't do. Stay with us, everyone. Back in 2 minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. My guest tonight is Maria Fudas. She is the author of a book that she's mentioned called Connect with Yourself and Others, which is available wherever good books are sold and online, and from Maria, which is a really interesting book about connections. But today we're talking about some of the other things that she's interested in regards to manifestation and astrology and sort of new age spirituality, and talking about this solar eclipse. Because Maria is of the belief that a solar eclipse opens up opportunities for transformation, quantum shifts, portals, and an opportunity for rebirth. And you've also talked about it being an opportunity to forgive people. So given all these things, and we got a couple of days before Monday afternoon at 3:18 when it's going to be happening in Southern Ontario, what are some of the things, Maria, that you think we should be thinking about and doing in preparation?
So, Brian, to sum it up, to make it simple for people, remember these three things: release, reset, align. This kind of
release, reset, align.
So we talked about the releasing. You've got to release grudges. You've got to release forgive and release guilt, release everything that doesn't serve your higher good. And so basically that's where the release is. And then it's reset, kind of like reset yourself in the path where you need to be. How do you reset yourself? Reset, we're spiritual beings. We're spiritual beings which are 100% love. We reset ourselves by bringing ourselves back to homeostasis, which is pure love energy. How do we do that? The two key things we need to do, and this is also what brings our manifestations, makes our manifestations stronger. First one is gratitude. Be grateful. Shift your perspective. Instead of complaining, the 3 C's that I talk: complaining and criticizing, and I can't remember exactly what I wrote on the other one, but basically instead of complaining, criticizing, and doing all that stuff, just reset yourself and bring yourself back into homeostasis and gratitude. Gratitude has a way of shifting everything around. But the other key element is self-worth, self-care. So this time is also a good time to take care of yourself. Do something good for yourself. And it doesn't have to be expensive. It could be a massage, a pedicure, but it could just be, get yourself your best treat. Go get something you like. And it could be, food. It could be a glass of wine. It could be, or just, so taking a bath or something. So it's really self-care. People don't put a lot of emphasis in self-care. They think it's selfish, but it's not, and make sure, talking about what not to do also, is not to put others above yourself. Of course we talk about compromise, but it's important that we don't compromise our values. We don't compromise our ideals or our morals, because by doing that, you're showing no integrity. And what you're spilling out to the universe is that you're not worthy. And how are you going to manifest what you want if you are not worthy? You have to believe without a doubt that what you want is already yours and you are worthy to have it. And and that's how we align then with where we should be. So that's where the alignment, in order to align with the path we were meant to live. Our purpose here is to be happy and to live a good life. But if we fall off the alignment and off our spiritual path, then is when we have chaos. We have dramas. So try to release those, reset yourself by gratitude, self-care, taking care of yourself, having integrity, and being authentic. And this is what's going to help you align at the solar eclipse. Full solar eclipse will help you align, because the full solar eclipse is a time for rebirth. So it's going to help you rebirth yourself in a positive way. And if you look at a butterfly, Brian, a butterfly doesn't turn into a butterfly, overnight, right? It has to, the caterpillar has to dissolve itself in some sticky, yucky goo before it gets wings and becomes a butterfly, correct? So it's the same thing with us. It's okay to be messy.
It is one of the transformations in nature that's always amazed me the most. It really is incredible that caterpillar can go into cocoon and come out as a butterfly. So what you talked about and what you wrote me was, with an open heart, do your best to let go of any upsets, dramas, guilt, and what no longer serves your higher good. So it sounds like you think that this weekend we should all think about, with an open heart, dramas and guilt and things that don't serve us anymore.
Yes, and declutter your home, but also your life. Declutter, get rid of people, things that no longer serve you.
Okay, and then you say it's a time for forgiveness and to get rid of dramas, chaos, guilt, and declutter. How do you do all that? People are often consumed with guilt. They're consumed with grudges. They're consumed with anger. How do you get rid of all that?
I do have a lot of clues in my book. It's a whole different show for that, which we could do if you'd like. But it takes time. It takes persistence. It takes wanting to do that and seeing the bigger picture. But that's just energy. At the end of the day, it means nothing. We're all energetic beings. The other person that you think badly of is also an energetic being. It's also, a God's child, and they just don't know any better. If you look at it about that, then it makes it easier. And Brian, I want to make clear, just, forgiving doesn't mean you say what the other person did is okay. All it means is you move on. So if you get stuck, so it's really about getting unstuck and not being in the past. Because how are you going to manifest the future? We manifest the future in the present moment. So if you're stuck on the past, on guilt, and on other people, then what you're going to get is what you give out. That's generally how it works with energy.
That's interesting, because what you wrote me was, do not ignore any issues with important relationships at the time, but face them.
Yes, face them. And you know what? It's important that we process our feelings. So, the moons, obviously, they come up and down with our emotions. So it's important that we feel what we feel. I'm not saying to act happy and say, hey, everything is good, and act fake. Because if you do that, then you're not authentic, you're not integrity, there's no self-care, you're compromising. It's about honoring your feelings and processing them in a way where you could process them to help you forgive and let go. And I could help people do that, if they want, they could contact me. But it is a process, but it's important to do that. And it's important then to speak about your feelings to the people that you're in relationship, your kids, if something bothers you, and take their feelings into consideration. So it's all about being honest.
Doing this without anger and without grudges and with a forgiving mindset.
Yes. You have to do that consciously. At the same time, not
over-compromising, as you say, and become a people pleaser.
Exactly. So you compromise in a way. Obviously, in relationships, you have to compromise. But the compromise is not really... a lot of people misunderstand is they compromise their morals, beliefs, and values. Those are things you should not compromise. You could compromise, hey, I want to go for a walk, you want to go here, we'll find a compromise. But when it comes to these main key elements that make you who you are, that make you the person you are, but then if you're compromising that, then you're chipping a little part away from you. And if you do that, you're not in integrity, you're not authentic. And overall, forget about, even if you don't believe any of the spiritual stuff, disease, the word disease is dis-ease, is being without ease. That's how, diseases come up. That's how people get sick and nail, depression, anxiety. So to be at ease and to be in a good place within yourself, if you don't believe in all this other stuff, is good for your health. So do it for your health.
Okay, so we talked about what you do ahead of time, which is this: forgive, get rid of anger, grudges, drama, problems, so that you're sort of cleansing yourself, getting ready for the solar eclipse. Now I want to take advantage of whatever transformation portals might exist, even if I don't believe in them, but might exist. What do I, if that's the stuff that I've got rid of, how do I get ready for the manifestation that you're saying is possible through this transformation of the solar eclipse?
And Brian, you talked about the butterfly. I mean, if the caterpillar becomes a butterfly, why is it such a huge leap to believe in manifestation in a way, right? But what you do is, once you release, you also have to do the gratitude and the self-care at the same time before the manifestation takes place. You have to release, then kind of reset yourself with self-care and gratitude, and then in order to align with what you want to align and manifest. So once you start doing that kind of release and you start doing that all together, start thinking about what you want, process your feelings, dream. Einstein said dreaming is more important than knowledge. Dream about what you want, what reality you want to live. Analyze what you need to change in your life, what no longer serves you, what relationships no longer serve you, what things in your life no longer serves you. And, release with love and gratitude and forgiveness, because otherwise you get stuck and you're in the past. So you have to remember to manifest in the now moment. And another way to do it is journaling. Write down, how you would like your reality to be, as if you already have it. Journaling is great for manifesting, and write it as if you believe it. And what I like to do is also say, this or better, because you want the universe to, this magical energy that's around us, intellectually, that helps us with our manifestations. You want to give it, leisure to give you something better. If what you want is, if you're fixated on a certain person or a certain job or a certain thing. So this or better, and just journal it. That will help you kind of bring your thoughts down as well. But do the releasing, the resetting, and then the alignment will come, because you can't align with something if you haven't released and reset in your put yourself in homeostasis, basically.
This is really exciting. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not sure, what's going to happen. I'm planning on going down and seeing the solar eclipse, or not seeing the sun, which is what actually happens. And as you say, sort of brings what's in the shadows more clearer. I think it's going to be an interesting experience. I read this one piece on what is the significance of the 2024 solar eclipse in relation to spirituality. And I thought I'd read some of the things for you, because it connects up with some of the things that you're talking about. There's about 5 different perspectives one person outlined. One is the biblical significance, that some individuals believe that solar eclipses hold spiritual significance based on biblical references. In Matthew 24, Jesus speaks of signs in the sun, moon, and stars, which some interpret as celestial events having spiritual implications. Number 2 is a divine message, that it has spiritual meaning and signifies the start of a new 7-year cycle. And it's the way of God demanding our attention by doing something so significant. It's number 3. Some people think a warning or a preparation, that it's a call for challenging times, and it's an opportunity to shift our mindset from a laid-back attitude to a more alert and focused approach, living as though we think things are going to be changing. It's symbolism, potentially, the way it crosses all of the United States and Southern Canada, and that there's a personal interpretation of all that. It's something that means different things to different people, and we've got to decide ourselves personally what we think it means. What do you think of those?
You know what? Just by listening to that, it's exactly what we were talking about. It's just in different wording. So, and like I said, in the Bible and different kind of religions, they all talk about this, and they say exactly what I'm saying. I'm just putting a spiritual, twist to it, kind of spin to it. But it's all, if you listen to what they're saying exactly, it's exactly that. It's about rebirth. It's about bringing things to the shadows, making informative decisions to have a rebirth and a new beginning, a transformation. And it's about enlightenment and giving you that enlightenment. I was going to say one more thing, Brian, which you said, which you're going to go and see the eclipse. I was going to say it's important also to manifesting, and during that time, to just go outside, because I think it's going to be magical. Even if you're not, I mean, I don't think I'm going to go to Niagara. And even if you don't have the glasses to look in the air, this magical energy is everywhere. It's not just in, in where it's going to go. Even if you don't actually see it, even if you're in Europe, if you're somewhere else in the world, it will still be impactful because the energy is in the universe. So it would be nice, and you said it's around 3:18 to 3:20 is the time it's going to occur here in Toronto time. But, so myself, I think around 3:15, I'm going to go outside. I might even do I've already journaled my manifestations out. I've done my cleansing. I've reset. So I've already done my manifestations out. And I'm going to take a little candle and a little thing and go outside on the rocks and just burn this in the universe at that time to kind of give it to the universe and say, this, I'm giving it to you. I'm releasing this to you right now. And this is yours. This is the new life that I'm going to have. So I think it would be a good idea to just be outside at that magical moment and just do a little ritual for yourself to kind of, bring yourself, with that magical power.
I think that's a great idea. Do a little ritual for yourself. We're going to take a final break and come back with some concluding comments from both myself and Maria in just 2 minutes. Stay with us, everybody. Back in 2. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 916, not Saga 960. I'm thinking about April the 8th at 3:18 p.m. Monday afternoon, when we're going to have a solar eclipse. And we've been chatting with Maria Fudas, a transformational life coach, author of the book Connect with Yourself and Others, which is available online and in bookstores and or through her. About this solar eclipse. And I wanted to read something again to you, Maria, if I could, about just a very sort of objective attitude toward the solar eclipse from people that may not be believers, but that something is happening. That people have associated solar eclipses with renewal and transformation. Often solar eclipses are seen as times of transformation and renewal. Just as the sun temporarily disappears during an eclipse, people may use this symbolism to let go of old patterns, release negative energy, and embrace personal growth and change in their lives. Some individuals think of it as a time for meditation and reflection. They see the eclipse as an opportunity to reflect on their lives, set new intentions, and connect with their inner selves. It's an opportunity to connect to the divine because clearly something very powerful is happening in the universe. And so therefore, is there a higher power? It's a time when ordinary rules of the world are temporarily suspended, allowing a sense of unity with a greater spiritual reality. It is a time people think of rituals and ceremonies. In some spiritual and indigenous traditions, rituals and ceremonies are actually performed during the solar eclipse. Prayers, chants, and other practices intended to harness the unique energy of the eclipse from healing, protection, or other spiritual purposes. And as you said, a symbol of balance. The alignment of the sun and the moon during eclipse can be seen as a symbol of balance between opposing forces or dualities, such as light and dark, masculine and feminine, and the conscious and the unconscious. Eclipses are seen of times when these dualities come together and are harmonious. And then finally, astrological and zodiac beliefs that they're considered significant events, often associated, as you said, with turning points, beginnings, endings, positions of celestial bodies during eclipses gain insights into the potential spiritual and personal growth opportunities. They remind individuals of the vastness of the universe and their place within it. The awareness can lead to a sense of humility and a greater appreciation for the cosmic order. And then the final thing, which I really strongly believe in, and Jason spoke about this, is there's something about experiencing an eclipse in a group of people, in a community, because everyone gets sort of a little bit scared together and then very joyous. And he said it was amazing. He was on this hill in Costa Rica, and when the sun came back out, everyone cheered. And everyone knew the sun was going to come back out. Everyone knew it was only going to happen for 3 minutes. But still, all these professional astrologers cheered and clapped when the sun came back out 3 minutes later. It's something exciting to experience together, that we've got this interconnectedness and shared experience. What are you going to do Monday afternoon?
Myself, actually, and I was going to say the main key for people is to make peace with yourself and others at this point. And myself, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to take a little candle, take my manifestations, and then just kind of burn them during that time and, on the rock, and just kind of like close my eyes and send it to the universe, knowing that it will happen, and stay in alignment with my true purpose, my path, and in alignment with the universe. I think that's what really it's all about. Just like the sun and moon align, it's a nudge for us to also align with our true purpose, with the universe, with God, whatever you believe, with the energies that are around us. Like you said, I'm a card reader, and there's magic there. So I don't know how that happens. I know there's magical energies around us. And even if sometimes I'm, skeptical, it proves me wrong, because everything, I find everything out. So magic is always around us. And whether you believe it or not, it's there. If you're able to consciously harvest it and make it work for you, I think it's power. It's empowerment. If you choose not to, that's okay too. You're lost.
I think this is really interesting and exciting, that if you believe it, it could be a time of transformation. A portal could open, a rebirth could occur. And hopefully, we all believe in forgiveness, but too often we don't actually do it. And having you and other people tell us that this is a really good time to think about getting rid of drama, getting rid of grudges, forgiving people, not being, over correcting, but doing the right thing, and living our best life, clearing up all the stuff that doesn't serve us, and being open for some inspiration and some manifestation of a far better future. I think that's wonderful. It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I look forward to
And
it.
it's about moving on. Like you said, it's really about moving on. It's just moving on from everything and letting it. That's what forgiveness is. It's not condoning stuff that's uncondonable.
I got to tell everyone, I've had the opportunity to chat with Maria Fudas a few times on transformational things, about her book, Connecting with Yourself and Others. And she actually read cards for me once, which was kind of fun. I highly recommend that, if you're at all interested in reading her book or connecting with her, do it. Could be fun. Thank you, Maria. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for having me, and happy manifesting.
That's our show for tonight, everybody. I remind you, I'm on every Monday through Friday at 6 o'clock on 960 AM. You can stream me online at www.saga960am.ca. All my podcasts and videos go up on my website as soon as the radio show goes to air. And I also post on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, etc. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And my podcasts are on Shopify, Audible, Speakeasy, etc. Maria, really appreciate it. Happy manifesting yourself. Good night, everybody.
Thanks, Brian.